Lebanon's financial stability in the 1950s and 60s earned it the title of the Switzerland of the East, and its capital city, Beirut, was previously a magnet for so much tourism that it was known as the Paris of the Middle East. But this is Lebanon today, a victim of one of the worst financial collapses since the 1800s. Life is a daily struggle. Food, fuel, and medicine are unaffordable, and over half the country is below the poverty line.
اللي وجع لي قلبي اكثر شيء الناس الكبار اللي اكبر من العمر ضيق قاعدين عم بيوقفوا بالطرمبة بنزين، هذا اللي معه ضغط وهذا اللي معه السكري وهذا اللي بعد شوي حيقشط ما بعرف شو صاير معه وما حدا عم بيأمن لهم، قيمك من الدواء وقيمك من البنزين والخبار كثير عم بيصير، ما حدا عم بيطلع فينا بعين الرأفة، لا بالعكس مرور الكرام.
After Lebanon's civil war ended in 1990, Lebanon rebuilt through tourism, foreign aid, and large donations from Gulf Arab states. Another major source of income for the country was in the form of remittances from the millions of Lebanese in the diaspora who sent money back home from across the world. But political instability across the Middle East and the Arab world in the past decade has had a major effect in decreasing these remittances, and consistent financial mismanagement by the ruling elite dragged the country deeper and deeper into debt. Sunni Gulf states also began to hold back on their funding as Iran appeared to exert greater influence across Lebanon via Hezbollah. By 2018, the government's failure to deliver political and economic reforms meant a huge amount of foreign aid and investment was being withheld from abroad. Finally, in 2019, mass protests erupted, driven by a generation of youth disenchanted by a political elite that had failed them time and time again. Then came the fateful 2020 explosion at the port of Beirut, followed by the pandemic. For a country already on track for a financial disaster, the explosion in Beirut and COVID-19 were the final nails in the coffin. Lebanon's economic collapse has been ranked amongst the world's worst since the 1800s by the World Bank. Since 2019, the Lebanese pound has lost more than 90% of its value.
أنا كنت صغير فجأة وقيت على الدنيا ولقيت كل شيء فقر وغلا ودولار، يعني إذا بدك تروح على مدينة المالية ما فيك، إذا بدك تروح على البحر ما فيك، بتدلك بالشغل من الصبح للعشية، بتخلص الشغل وبتروح بتنام.
Lebanon's minimum wage has not changed, but hyperinflation as a result of the Lebanese pound crashing has pushed food prices up by 400%.
معي باكل ما معي ما باكل، افتحي بالرودي إذا بتلاقي فيه وقية جبنة أو وقية لبنة أو وقية لحمة أو فروج دجاج أو فخذ دجاج أو فيه.
Drugs and medicines subsidized by the government are running out. There are massive electricity shortages, and even those relying on private generators don't have enough fuel to run them. There are massive queues for fuel, and many are surviving on a few hours of electricity a day.
We talk about hundreds of thousands of businesses and jobs that have been lost. We talk mainly about small and medium businesses run by private entrepreneurs, and we talk about a lot of middle class that has been affected quite badly from the situation.
A recent report from the World Bank estimates that the Lebanese economy will shrink by a massive 10% this year, with the country's GDP dropping exponentially. The report also states that a catastrophic economic collapse such as this usually happens as a result of war, and the crisis has wider-ranging effects.
The crisis affects everyone in Lebanon, not just the Lebanese. As you know, Lebanon hosts the highest number of refugees per capita of residents in the world, with over 1 million Syrian refugees and more than 270,000 Palestinian refugees.
Shortly after the anniversary of the Port of Beirut blast, US President Joe Biden announced a pledge of $100 million in aid for Lebanon.
Today I'm announcing nearly $100 million in new humanitarian assistance. That's on top of the $560 million in humanitarian aid that the United States has provided to Lebanon over the last 2 years. And I urge my fellow leaders in capitals around the world to also step up their support for the Lebanese people.
But as with all foreign aid, it comes with a strict warning for Lebanon's political elite.
No amount of outside assistance will ever be enough if Lebanon's own leaders do not commit to do the hard but necessary work of reforming the economy and combating corruption. It's essential.